Chapter 9 of Little Lucy's Wonderful Globe. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Little Lucy's Wonderful Globe by Charlotte M. Yonge. Chapter 9. Kamschatka. Lucy had been disappointed of a drive with the reindeer, and she had been telling Don how useful his relations were in other places. Behold, she awoke in a wide plain, where as far as her eye could reach there was nothing but snow. The few fir trees that stood in the distance were heavily laden, and Lucy herself, where was she? Going very fast. Yes, whisking over the snow with all her might and main, and muffled up in cloaks and furs, as indeed was necessary, for her breath froze upon the big muffler around her throat, so that it seemed to be standing up in a wall, and by her side was a little boy, muffled up quite as close, with a cap, or rather hood, casing his whole head, his hands gloved in fur up to the elbows, and long fur boots. He had an immense long whip in his hand, and was flourishing it, and striking with it. At what? They were an enormous way off from him, but they really were very big dogs, rushing along like the wind, and bearing along with them what? Lucy's ambition, a sledge, a thing without wheels, but gliding along most rapidly on the hard snow. Flying almost as fast to take away her breath, and leaving birds, foxes, and any creature she saw for one instant far behind. And what was very odd, the young driver had no reins. He shouted at the dogs, and now and then threw a stick at them, and they quite seemed to understand, and turned when he wanted them. Lucy wondered how he or they knew the way. It all seemed such a waste of snow, and after feeling at first as if the rapidity of their course made her unable to speak, she ventured on gasping out, "Well, I've been in an express train, but this beats it. Where are you going?" "To Petropawlowsky, to change these skins for whiskey and coffee and rice," answered the boy. "What skins are they?" asked Lucy. "Bears, big brown bears that father killed in a cave, and wolves, and those of the little ermine and sable that we trap. We get much for the white ermine and his black tail. Father's coming in another sledge with, oh, such a big pile. Don't you hear his dogs yelp? We will win the race yet. Ugh! Ho! 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 On, lazy ones, on, I say! Don't let the old dogs catch the young." Crack, crack went the whip. The dogs yelped with eagerness. They don't bark, those northern dogs. The little Kamschatka dale bawled louder and louder, and never saw when Lucy rolled off behind, and was left in the middle of a huge snowdrift, while he flew on with his load. Here were his father's dogs overtaking her, picking her, someone picking her up. No, it was Don, and here was Mrs. Bunker exclaiming, "Well, I never thought to find Miss Lucy in no better a place than on master's old bearskin." End of Chapter 9. Recording by Rhonda Fetterman.